Koch Industries, Incorporated, is an American multinational corporation based in Wichita, Kansas, United States, with subsidiaries involved in manufacturing, trading and investments. Koch also owns Invista, Georgia Pacific, Flint Hills Resources, Koch Pipeline, Koch Fertilizer, Koch Minerals and Matador Cattle Company. Koch companies are involved in core industries such as the manufacturing, refining and distribution of petroleum, chemicals, energy, fiber, intermediates and polymers, minerals, fertilizers, pulp and paper, chemical technology equipment, ranching, finance, commodities trading, as well as other ventures and investments. The firm employs 50,000 people in the United States and another 20,000 in 59 other countries. In 2013, Forbes called it the second largest privately held company in the United States, with an annual revenue of $115 billion, down from the largest in 2006. If Koch Industries were a public company in 2013, it would have ranked 17 in the Fortune 500. Frederick C. Koch, after whom Koch Industries, Incorporated is named, co-founded the company in 1940 and developed an innovative crude oil refining process. His sons, Charles Koch, chairman of the board and chief executive officer, and David H. Koch, executive vice president, are principal owners of the company after they bought out their brothers, Frederick and William Bill Koch, for $1.1 billion in 1983. Charles and David H. Koch each own 42% of Koch Industries. Charles has stated that the company would go public over my dead body. History, predecessor companies. In 1925, Frederick C. Koch joined MIT classmate Louis E. Winkler at an engineering firm in Wichita, Kansas, which was renamed the Winkler-Koch Engineering Company. In 1927 they developed a more efficient thermal cracking process for turning crude oil into gasoline. This process threatened the competitive advantage of established oil companies, which sued for patent infringement. Temporarily forced out of business in the United States, they turned to other markets, including the Soviet Union, where Winkler-Koch built 15 cracking units between 1929 and 1932. During this time, Koch came to despise communism and Joseph Stalin's regime. In his 1960 book, A Businessman Looks at Communism, Koch wrote that he found the USSR to be a land of hunger, misery, and terror. According to Charles G. Koch, virtually every engineer he worked with, there was purged. In 1940, Koch joined new partners to create a new firm, the Wood River Oil and Refining Company, which is today known as Koch Industries. In 1946 the firm acquired the Rock Island Refinery and crude oil gathering system near Duncan, Oklahoma. Wood River was later renamed the Rock Island Oil and Refining Company. Charles G. Koch joined Rock Island in 1961, having started his career at the management consulting firm Arthur D. Little. He became president in 1966 and chairman at age 32, upon his father's death the following year. Koch Industries. The company was renamed Koch Industries in honor of Fred Koch, the year after his death. At that time, it was primarily an engineering firm with part interest in the Pine Bend Refinery in Minnesota, a crude oil gathering system in Oklahoma, and some cattle ranches. In 1968, Charles approached Union Oil of California about buying their interest in Great Northern Oil Company and its Pine Bend Refinery, but the discussions quickly stalled after Union asked for a large premium. In 1969, Union Oil began trying to market their interest in Great Northern by telling potential buyers that Koch's controlling interest could be thwarted by currying favor with another owner, J. Howard Marshall II. When Marshall discovered this, he threw his lot in with Koch. They together acquired a majority interest in the company and ultimately bought Union's interest. Ownership of Pine Bend Refinery led to several new businesses and capabilities, including chemicals, fibers, polymers, asphalt and other commodities such as petroleum coke and sulfur. These were followed by global commodity trading, gas liquids processing, real estate, pulp and paper, risk management and finance. In 1970, Charles was joined at the family firm by his brother David H. Koch. Having started as a technical services manager, David became president of Koch Engineering in 1979. Recent news: in April 2014, Koch Industries and the private equity arm of Goldman Sachs agreed to acquire printing ink producer Flint Group for around $3 billion. Subsidiaries: among Koch Industries subsidiaries across various industries are, Georgia Pacific. Georgia Pacific is a paper and pulp company that produces Brawny paper towels, Angel Soft toilet paper, Mardi Gras napkins and towels, Quilted Northern toilet paper and paper towels, Dixie paper plates, bowls, napkins and cups, Sparkle paper towels, and Vanity Fair paper napkins, bowls, plates and tablecloths. The Atlanta-based company has operations in 27 states. Invista, acquired from DuPont, Invista is a polymer and fibers company that makes Stainmaster carpet, and Lycra fiber, among other products. Koch Pipeline Company LP, Koch Pipeline Company LP, which owns and operates 4,000 miles of pipeline used to transport oil, natural gas liquids and chemicals. Its pipelines are located across Wisconsin, Minnesota, Texas, Missouri, Iowa, Oklahoma, Louisiana, and Alberta, Canada. The firm operates offices in Wichita, Kansas, St. Paul, Minnesota and Corpus Christi, Texas. In 1946 Wood River Oil Company purchased Rock Island Oil and Refining Company. As a part of the transaction, it acquired a crude oil pipeline in Oklahoma. As a result of construction and investments, Wood River acquired other pipelines in the U.S. and Canada. €OE in the ensuing years, €, according to Koch Pipeline's website, €OEV company bought, sold and built pipeline systems transporting crude oil and refined products, as well as natural gas liquids and anhydrous ammonia. Koch Pipeline and its affiliates currently maintain a 4,000-mile network of pipelines. Flint Hills Resources LP, Flint Hills Resources LP, originally called Koch Petroleum Group, is a major refining and chemicals company based in Wichita, Kansas. It sells products such as gasoline, diesel, jet fuel, ethanol, polymers, intermediate chemicals, base oils and asphalt. It operates oil refineries in 6 states. Flint Hills has chemical plants in Illinois, Texas and Michigan. The firm is also a major manufacturer of asphalt used for paving and roofing applications. It operates 13 asphalt terminals located in 6 states including Alaska, Wisconsin, Iowa, Minnesota, Nebraska, and North Dakota. The firm manages the purchasing of domestic crude oil from Texas and Colorado offices, has 4 ethanol plants across Iowa, operates 3 refineries in Alaska, Texas, and Minnesota, and has a refinery terminal in Alaska. The Minnesota refinery can process 320,000 barrels of crude a day, most of which comes from Alberta, Canada, and handles 1/4 of all Canadian oil sands crude entering the U.S. It also operates fuel terminals in Wisconsin, Texas, and 1 each in Iowa and Minnesota. In March 1999, Koch Petroleum Group acknowledged that it had negligently dumped hundreds of thousands of gallons of aviation fuel into wetlands from its refinery in Rosemount, Minnesota, and that it had illegally dumped 1 million gallons of high ammonia wastewater onto the ground and into the Mississippi River. Koch Petroleum paid a $6 a million fine and $2 a million in remediation costs, and was ordered to serve 3 years of probation. In April 2001, the company reached a $20 a million settlement in exchange for admitting to covering up environmental violations at its refinery in Corpus Christi, Texas. In June 2003, the U.S. Commerce Department fined Flint Hills Resources a $200,000 civil penalty. The fine settled charges that the company exported crude petroleum from the U.S. to Canada without proper U.S. government authorization. The Commerce Department Unregistered Trademark S Bureau of Industry and Security said from July 1997 to March 1999, Koch Petroleum committed 40 violations of export administration regulations. In 2005, Koch's Flint Hills Resources refinery was recognized by the Environmental Protection Agency's Clean Air Awards program for reducing air emissions by 50% while expanding operations. The EPA has worked with Flint Hills Resources to develop strategies for curtailing so-called upset emissions, in what agency and company sources say it could lead to guidance to minimize such emissions from petroleum refineries and other industrial facilities. The EPA described the process as a model for other companies. In 2006, Flint Hills Resources was fined nearly $16,000 by the EPA for 10 separate violations of the Clean Air Act at its Alaska oil refinery facilities, and required to spend another $60,000 on safety equipment needed to help prevent future violations. In May 2014, Flint Hills Resources announced a definitive agreement to purchase Petrologistics, a Houston-based manufacturer of chemical and polymer-grade propylene. Koch Fertilizer, LLC, Koch Fertilizer, LLC, which is one of the World unregistered trademark's largest makers of nitrogen fertilizers. Koch Fertilizer owns or has interests in fertilizer plants in the United States, Canada, Trinidad and Tobago, Venezuela, and Italy, among others. Koch Fertilizer was formed in 1988 when the Koch companies purchased the Gulf Central Pipeline and ammonia terminals connected to the pipeline. The next year, the Koch Nitrogen Company was formed in order to market ammonia. The next few years saw purchases of various ammonia facilities in Louisiana, Canada, and elsewhere, and ammonia sales agreements with firms in Australia, the UK, and other countries. The year 2010 saw the founding of Koch Methanol, LLC, and Koch Agronomic Services, LLC. In October 2010, a plant in Venezuela was nationalized by the government. In 2011, the firm acquired the British fertilizer firm J&H Bunn Limited. Koch Agricultural Company, Koch Agricultural Company's Matador Cattle Company division operates 3 ranches totaling 425,000 acres located in Beaverhead, Montana, Matador, Texas and the Flint Hills of eastern Kansas. There are more than 15,000 head of cattle raised on the ranches. The Matador Land and Cattle Company was founded in 1882 by Scottish investors, whose acquisition included 2.5 million acres in 4 Texas counties. In 1951, the company was sold to Lazard Frères & Co., which in turn sold some of the Texas land to Frederick C. Koch. In 1952 Koch formed Matador Cattle Company, and later one of his companies purchased part of Matador Ranch, which was brought together with other Koch ranches in Montana and Kansas. Today, according to the ranch's website, it is owned and operated by Matador Cattle Company, a division of Koch Agriculture Company, which is an indirect, wholly owned subsidiary of Koch Industries. Koch's Matador Ranch in Texas earned the Lone Star Land Steward Award, an award sponsored by Chevron, Toyota and the Texas and Southwestern Cattle Raisers Association for outstanding natural resource management in 2010. Environmental and Safety Record. Bloomberg reports that from 1999 to 2003, Koch Industries was assessed more than $400 a million in fines, penalties and judgments. Daniel Indivlio, in a reaction piece appearing in The Atlantic, argues that the Bloomberg article is biased and misleading, asserting that the Bloomberg team only found 8 instances of alleged misconduct by a giant multinational over the span of 63 years. In 2000, for its 300 reported oil spills which had taken place across 6 states, Koch paid the largest civil fine ever imposed on a company under any federal environmental law for the illegal discharge of crude oil and petroleum products. In a settlement with the U.S. Justice Department and the state of Texas, the company agreed to pay a $30 million civil penalty, improve its leak prevention programs and spend $5 million on environmental projects. In 1996, an 8-inch diameter steel LPG pipeline operated by Koch Pipeline Company ruptured near Lively, Texas and began leaking butane gas. The vapor cloud ignited when 2 residents drove their pickup truck through the flammable vapors to get to a neighbor's house to call 911 to report the leak. The 2 were killed in the explosion, and approximately 25 families were later evacuated from the neighborhood without injury. An investigation conducted by the NTSB found that the pipe section which failed had not been shown to have excessive corrosion in a 1995 inspection. Regulations at the time did not provide criteria for adequate cathodic protection. Koch also stated that the bacteria-induced corrosion acted quicker than had ever previously been recorded in the industry. The explosion was the only event of its kind in the Campania Euro unregistered trademark's history. In 1999, a Texas jury found that negligence had led to the rupture of the Koch pipeline and awarded the victims' families $296 million, the largest compensatory damages judgment in a wrongful death case against a corporation in U.S. history. In 2000, a federal grand jury returned a 97-count indictment against Koch Industries and its individual employees for environmental crimes relating to excess emissions of 85 metric tons of benzene, a known carcinogen. In 2001, Koch Industries was fined $20 million, of which $10 million was a criminal fine and $10 million to clean up the environment. Legal issues. In 2008, Koch Industries discovered that the French affiliate Koch Glitch had violated bribery laws, allegedly securing contracts in Algeria, Egypt, India, Morocco, Nigeria and Saudi Arabia after an investigation by Ethics Compliance Officer, Igarova Farines. After Koch Industries' investigative team looked into her findings, the 4 employees involved were terminated. A Bloomberg article states that Igarova Farines reported her findings immediately, and even after Koch Euro unregistered trademark's investigators substantiated the findings, her Euro superiors removed her from the inquiry in August 2008 and fired her in June 2009, calling her incompetent. A Koch Industries Euro unregistered trademark general counsel, Mark Holden, gave a different account of the events to Jennifer Rubin of The Washington Post. Holden stated that Igarova Farines failed to promptly share the findings, choosing instead to give the information to a manager at Koch Glitch who was later fired for bribery. Rubin writes that, according to Holden, Igarova Farines was not fired but instead ran into performance problems, left the company to go on leave and never returned. Igarova Farines sued Koch Glitch for wrongful termination in France. Rubin writes that she lost and was ordered to pay costs for bringing a frivolous case. In May 2011, cyber pranksters anonymously released a fake Koch Industries press release. Koch Industries filed suit claiming among other things that the cyber pranksters had infringed on Koch Industries' trademark. The identity of cyber pranksters were revealed to be Youth for Climate Truth. Political activity. Koch Industries has spent more than $50 million to lobby in Washington between 2006 and October 2011, according to the Center for Responsive Politics. The company has opposed the regulation of financial derivatives and limits on greenhouse gases. It sponsors free market foundations and causes. According to the Center for Responsive Politics, many of Koch Industries' contributions have gone toward achieving legislation on energy issues, defense appropriations and financial regulatory reform. Koch Industries has been criticized by the environmentalist group Greenpeace for the role they allege the company plays in affecting climate change policy in the United States. Koch Industries replied saying the Greenpeace report distorts the environmental record of our companies. One policy proposal to control global warming that Koch Industries has come out against is low-carbon fuel standards, such as were passed in 2007 in California. According to Koch Industries, LCFS would cripple refiners that rely on heavy crude feedstocks to provide the transportation fuels that keep America moving. The Koch Industries website includes an opinion piece from the Wall Street Journal by Charles Koch, one of the company's owners, why Koch Industries is speaking out. The article states, "Because of our activism, we've been vilified by various groups. Despite this criticism, we're determined to keep contributing and standing up for those politicians, like Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker, who are taking these challenges, deficit spending by governments seriously." The company also funds the Political Action Committee Koch PAC. See also: Koch Family Foundations, Koch Brothers Exposed. References. External links: Koch Industries companies grouped at Open Corporates, U.S. lobbying and campaign contributions at OpenSecrets.org, Koch Industries U.S. political contributions from Influence Explorer at the Sunlight Foundation, Koch Industries Public Sector U.S. Political Contributions from Influence Explorer at the Sunlight Foundation, Summary of Koch Industries United States Presence at sec.gov.